All right, so you're building with generative AI. You've probably heard these two terms thrown around, RAG and fine-tuning. This isn't just jargon, it's a fundamental choice you have to make. And honestly, getting this right is the difference between an AI that feels like magic and one that's, well, a total dud. So today, we're going to settle the debate and give you a crystal clear framework for making the right call.
It all boils down to this one simple, massive problem. You can grab the most powerful large language model on the planet, GPT-4, Claude, whatever, but out of the box, it knows absolutely nothing about you. It hasn't read your company's private documents, it doesn't know your latest support tickets, and it has no clue about your internal database. And that's the gap we all have to bridge.
I mean, let's be real. What do we actually want? We want an AI that's an expert on our stuff. We need it to pull answers from our latest data, not some random web page from 2 years ago. We need it to talk our talk, you know? And above all, we need it to be accurate, and something we can actually control. A generic model just isn't going to cut it.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll double-click on that core problem. Then, we'll break down the two main ways to solve it, RAG and fine-tuning. After that, we'll put them head-to-head, see how they stack up. And then for the big reveal, how they can actually work together. And we'll wrap up with a super simple mental model you can take with you.
Okay, first up, let's just cement this idea in our minds. These giant pre-trained models, they are an amazing starting point, but they are not the finish line for any serious application.
And that's where our two big tools come into the picture, Retrieval Augmented Generation, which we call RAG, and fine-tuning. Knowing which one to grab and when is pretty much the most important skill you can have in this space right now.
All right, let's talk about our first solution, RAG. And honestly, the best way to think about it is this. You're giving the AI an open book exam. You're not asking it to memorize a bunch of stuff, you're just handing it the textbook right before the test.
So what does that actually mean? Well, with RAG, the model doesn't just rely on its old training data. The second you ask it a question, it zips out to your knowledge base, finds the exact pieces of relevant information, and then uses that fresh info to construct its answer. It's all happening in real time.
And the process is so simple, it's brilliant. It's just 3 steps. First, it retrieves. It finds the right snippets from your documents or databases. Second, it augments. It stuffs that information right into the prompt, giving the model context. And finally, it generates. The LLM then answers the question, but it's been instructed to only use the context you just gave it.
So if you remember one thing about RAG, it's this. RAG is all about knowledge. It's about teaching the model what to say. You're not actually changing the model's brain at all. You're just giving it a perfect cheat sheet for every single question.
Okay, now for solution number 2, fine-tuning. And if RAG is that open book exam, think of fine-tuning as sending your AI to a super specialized grad school. This isn't about facts, it's about teaching it a new skill, a new personality.
This is a much, much deeper process. With fine-tuning, you're actually changing the model's internal wiring, what we call its weights. By showing it hundreds or thousands of perfect examples, you're literally reshaping how it thinks and behaves. You're changing its habits.
So where does this really shine? It's all about teaching the AI how to respond. You need every answer to be in perfect JSON format, or maybe you want it to adopt the voice of your brand, down to the last word. Or perhaps you need it to be an expert at one very specific task, like classifying customer feedback. That is a job for fine-tuning. And here is the perfect mirror image to our RAG takeaway. Fine-tuning teaches the model how to think and respond. It's all about behavior and style and skill. It is not about knowledge.
Okay, we've met the two contenders. We get the basic idea of what they do. Now it's time for the main event. Let's put them side by side and really dig into the differences.
So when you're staring at your project, trying to make a decision, how do they really stack up? Let's get into the nitty-gritty, the stuff that really matters when you're building something real.
This table really says it all. Let's just hit the big ones. Look at data freshness. RAG is real time, hands down. Fine-tuning, it's a snapshot in time. Once you train it, it's static. What about hallucination control? RAG is way, way better because its answers are grounded in documents you just gave it. And then there's the big one, cost and time. RAG is almost always way faster and cheaper to get going and update. Fine-tuning can be a serious investment.
So let's make this super practical. You should absolutely choose RAG when your data is constantly changing. If you need to be able to trace an answer back to a specific sentence in a specific document, that's RAG. It's your go-to for accuracy and sourcing.
And here it is, the simplest rule of thumb I can give you. If your problem is fundamentally about knowledge, getting up-to-date, accurate information into the model's response, then your answer, like 99% of the time, is RAG. Now, on the flip side, you're going to reach for fine-tuning when your problem is about the shape of the answer. You need that consistent style, that specific format, where you're teaching the model to become a world-class expert at one very narrow task.
And here's the matching rule. It's just as simple. If your problem is really about behavior, how the model should act, the personality it should have, the structure of its output, then you're squarely in fine-tuning territory.
But you know what? After all of that comparison, we come to the real pro-level insight. And it's that thinking about this as RAG versus fine-tuning, well, that might just be the wrong question to ask in the first place.
Because the most powerful AI systems out there, they don't choose, they use both. Think about it. Use RAG to inject the what, the fresh, factual, private knowledge, and you use fine-tuning to control the how, the tone, the format, the style of the answer. You're getting the best of both worlds, RAG for facts and fine-tuning for personality. And that brings us to the end. I want to wrap everything up and leave you with one final, dead simple mental model that will lock all of this into place for you. Here it is, the one thing to burn into your brain. RAG is all about answering the question, what should I know right now to answer this? And fine-tuning is all about answering the question, how should I respond? If you can remember that distinction, you'll be well on your way to building truly intelligent and useful AI systems.